Ladies and gentlemen, it comes around once a year. It is the Thanksgiving tradition. Get ready. Here are my preview and predictions for NXT Survivor Series. Don't worry, you'll get it soon enough. Trust me.
They say I'm cocky, and I say what? It ain't bragging, motherfucker, if you back it up.
What's going on, everybody? It's your buddy, it's your pal Spaz Phoenix, the YWC Reality Check, and unfortunately, times did not mash up, plans did not mash up. I was not able to get OK for my Survivor Series preview and predictions, but I am here. You do get to see my pretty sexy face, as opposed to what I say when there's audio. You guys know the drill. Survivor Series is this Sunday, which gives you guys 2 days to watch this and gives me 2 days to try and get some actual views on this video, which is fine and wonderful. Survivor Series is coming up, and I know everybody's shitting on it because it's the popular thing to do, yada yada yada, but it's I mean, on the other hand, I'm not going to say this is going to be the best pay-per-view in the world, but it's got to be better than Survivor Series last year, right? Let's talk about this. On the kickoff, we're going to have a panel consisting of Booker T, Alex Riley, Renee Young, and Paul Heyman. All I have to say, Paul Heyman being there will add to the panel. Paul Heyman being there means there's always the chance that WWE is going to swerve us and that Brock Lesnar is going to be involved in some way, shape, or form. We're going to see Wade Barrett return. Now, he's not fully healed from whatever his injuries are, but he's going to be there. He's going to do something. I'm guessing he's going to be a guest on the panel. He's going to come out and talk to the audience. He's going to do something probably as mundane as what Daniel Bryan did last time. He was on a on the kickoff pre-show. Whatever. I hate the term kickoff. I'm just putting that one out there too. We might get the Bunny versus Adam Rose, and this is where everybody groans. And yeah, it's not going to be that great. I admit this. But the entire rivalry between the Bunny and Adam Rose really has given us the rivalry between Adam Rose and Tyson Kidd, which gets Tyson Kidd on mainstream TV and makes everybody happy. So, you know, all of you that bitch claim you never watch the kickoff anyway. So what is the problem, really, necessarily? We're also going to get, if you read WWE.com, we're also going to get the new and improved Fandango is going to be returning to the ring on the kickoff. So they're going to tweak his character some way, shape, or form. Maybe we're going to get Johnny Curtis from NXT. That could be a thing. We don't know who he's facing, but we just know that Fandango is returning to the ring on the pre-show. Now, on the show proper, as they say somewhere else, not here, because that sounds weird even coming out of my mouth. Natalya versus... Guys, you know the drill. First day with my new tongue. We have Natty, Emma, Naomi, Alicia Fox versus Paige, Cameron, Summer, and Layla in a traditional Survivor Series 4-on-4 tag match. Now, everybody says this is the Divas division. This is just a clumpy way to get them all on the show, and it doesn't really matter, da-da-da-da. A, you got some pretty decent talent in that match, and B, it's a large group, multi-person match because it's the Survivor Series. In that match, you've got Natty, decent in the ring, Emma, who's fantastic in the ring, Naomi, who's and Alicia Fox, who's on the other side, you got Paige, phenomenal, former Divas champion, you know, the shining star coming out of NXT right now, Cameron, who sucks, Summer, and Layla, who are very underutilized, and this will give them a chance to shine. Everybody wins. Who's going to win? It's going to be Paige, because Paige, I figure, is going to be going up against whoever wins the Divas title match later on in the night. Or at least going to try to reassert herself, hey, I captained my team to victory. Yada, yada, yada. Paige is... Yeah, Team Paige, I guess. I don't know if it was done like this, but I'm going to call it Team Paige versus Team Alicia, because that's the last person Paige really fought, was Alicia Fox. So, yes. Very, very predictably, the Tag Team Championship is going to be defended in a Fatal 4-Way. The Usos versus Golden Stardust versus Miz and Mizdow versus Los Matadores. I love this for so many reasons. I love this because all the people out there in YWC land who will tell you who to like and who to not like are going to tell you that you have to like Damien Sandow. Not that I disagree, but it's one of those pushy things. But in order to root for Damien Sandow in this match, you also have to root for The Miz, and The Miz will carry Damien Sandow kicking and screaming to glory like he does. But the real opportunity here, the real chance to shine here, honestly, is for Los Matadors, and I would have loved to have OK in this conversation to discuss that. But my theory is, you've got the Usos, who are sort of like the unofficial figureheads of the tag team division. Gold and Stardust, which is always an intricate story. First, because their characters are great. Second of all, because Cody Rhodes can carry any little gimmick that they give him, as he's proven over and over again, and because Goldust at his age is still putting on phenomenal matches. Miz and Mizdow, like I say, you've got the Miz, who's a main eventer. Let's be real, he beat John Cena at WrestleMania, and he's tagging with Damien Mizdow, who everybody seems to be currently hopping on the dick of. Lots of focus on this match, and for Los Matadors to be involved in this match as well, they're going to absorb spotlight from those other three teams. And I hope they make the most of it, because these guys, although their gimmick right now is corny, I mean, Epico and Primo didn't go very far either, but although their gimmick is corny, they are talented in the ring, and I hope that does show eventually. Get rid of El Torito, get rid of the masks, go back to being Primo and Epico. Be the Colognes, be managed by Carlito for all I care. But I really do see it, not that I'm saying necessarily WWE is going to take it, don't get me wrong, but I do see an opportunity for the Matadors to really make a showing of themselves. AJ versus Nikki Bella. Here's the deal. There are four main divas in the Divas division right now in the WWE, and that's AJ, Paige, Nikki, and Brie. Now, this is where I go into a little... I'm going to try not to rant in this video, because I promise, if I have time, between now and Sunday, there is a rant coming. Oh, yes. And for those of you that like to rant, look for that in a day or two. But AJ versus Paige was the best thing going on in the Divas division, and people put out the very stereotypical cookie cutter YWC complaint. Oh, of course it's a great match, but we can't focus on the fact that it's a great match because we've seen it too many times. Nikki and Brie had their own rivalry. Nikki is, looming over Brie at the moment. If you took Paige out, if you take out the number one contender from the equation, because AJ's the champion, the only other option they had was to give you Nikki versus AJ Lee. It's great because AJ Lee is such a fan favorite and Nikki is so universally hated. Nobody's going to be torn anymore. When we liked AJ versus Paige, because AJ is a fan favorite, Paige is a fan favorite, they're both crazy, it's crazy versus crazy, yada yada yada. Whereas here, you've got a definite fan favorite in AJ Lee, you've got a definite strong heel in Nikki, and you've got fan support behind Brie, which is going to put more heat on Nikki. The dynamic of the crowd in this match could be fantastic. And not only that, guys, I know it's taboo, and I know it's another one of those things that you're just not supposed to do, but the Bellas aren't that bad, and Nikki has been doing a great job of building herself as an absolute bitch. Now, here's the thing, sticking with the theme of things YWC says you're not allowed to do, YWC has unofficial rules, do they not, in the WWE? They have their reasons for making their predictions and whatever. This person has to win because of this person has to win because of this. But let me throw this one out there. The rumor is circulating, yet again, that AJ Lee is leaving the company. And if that is the case, good for her. Her and CM Punk, if they've collected enough money to go off and live their life happily ever after, I say fucking go for it. Will I miss her like I miss CM Punk? Absolutely. But it's their call. It really is. And unlike Rey Mysterio, at least she'll see out to the end of her contract and put somebody else over in the process. Oh, yes. But on the other side of the coin, you've got there's a big conspiracy surrounding Total Divas, and all the divas on Total Divas are trapped, and they can't win any belts because Vince doesn't want anybody on Total Divas to have a championship, which makes absolutely no sense. So according to all the know-it-alls in the YWC, nobody can win this match. I think it's going to be Nikki. I honestly do. I hope that Nikki wins, she proves you all wrong, AJ goes off into the sunset with CM Punk if that's what she's going to do, or revisits her rivalry with Paige if she doesn't leave, without the title, and let the Bellas fight over the title, because the other thing the YWC says that the Brie Bella versus Nikki Bella feud has been missing was stakes. We had stakes last month when we put the bet on the match and the servitude and all that kind of thing, but that was temporary. That was for 1 month. This is something they could legitimately fight over. It's a physical, tangible thing that could give that rivalry some clout, and the Paige versus AJ rivalry, as awesome as we know that it is, doesn't need it anymore because it is a thing on its own. Everybody wins in this scenario. Everybody wins, and people complain. It just... Oh... Team Cena versus Team Authority. Now, I'm going to give you guys to the count of 5. Give me all your arguments. Give me all your arguments. Give them, come on. I'm giving you the opportunity. Shout them at your computer screen right now. I'm losing my voice, so somebody's got to do some shouting. Cena's got no stakes because win or lose, he's got a title shot against Brock Lesnar when we come back in 2015. Well, if the Authority stays in play, they have power. The only reason the Authority has people doing their bidding is because they're in charge and they can repay people for doing their bidding. They can send all kinds of people to fuck with John Cena and fuck up his pending WWE Championship match in the new year. Whereas if they don't have any power, why would they have any people under them, any people showing them any kind of servitude? Because they won't get their favor returned. So yeah, John Cena wins, the Authority's gone. He gets a more fair shot at Brock Lesnar with less to worry about. Rollins, in this match, he's the Money in the Bank holder. He has to be kept in the WWE title match conversation because he can cash that thing in at any time. Is he going to cash it in on Brock Lesnar? Hell no. But he's there, and it's a proving ground for him. Ziggler, everybody is behind, because Ziggler, people have picked on more than Cena because he sided with Cena. He's had the living crap kicked out of him. Let's be real, the story's been written like that because he can take a beating and make it look great. Big Show and Ryback are just big guys in the match. That's fine. Rowan was the surprise entrant into this match, which was great. I'd rather have Rowan than Sheamus because Sheamus is useless. And Rowan versus Luke Harper adds a whole new dynamic, and it was just tacked on there at the end as a shock and awe, as a little bit of a swerve to finally grasp your attention as you go into the match. Rollins is great. Rollins is the modern day Jeff Hardy. I'm the Hardy Mark, but I have no problem saying that whatsoever. Kane I could do without. Rusev is a fucking steamroller. So you have the whole story of this guy hasn't been pinned or submitted yet. Will it happen in the Survivor Series match? Will Rusev be the sole survivor because he hasn't known defeat in the WWE? And he needs to look big and strong going into his reign as the US champion. Little side note on that, people out there are complaining, oh, why isn't he turning it into the Russian championship? Why would he, if he hates America so much, why would he carry around a big metal American flag? To rub it in America's face, people. It's as simple can be. It's more offensive for the Americans to see the American flag wrapped around the Russians' waist than just to go out and make another novelty belt that will be useless in a month. Mark Henry's a beast when he's a heel, which is fantastic, and Luke Harper is your brand new. He is the shining star coming out of the Wyatt family. The dissolving of the Wyatt family is what I mean to say. First one in the Wyatt family to pick up any sort of gold, so good for him. And I mean, he showed what he can do to Dolph Ziggler on Raw when he distributed Dolph Ziggler at the Authority's feet to prove that he was a team player. There's a lot of weird dynamics that could go on here because nobody wants Cena to be the sole survivor. Ryback just came back, so we're afraid, or most people, not me, I'm not afraid of wrestling, it's something on my television screen, but most people are afraid that they're going to have Ryback be the sole survivor because he just came back and he's going to get a bullshit push and da-da-da-da. But if Daniel Bryan had taken that 5th spot and he got the bullshit push, then it would have been fine, right? That's my phone, people. What do I see? We added the stipulation on SmackDown that if Cena's team loses, they all get fired. So it pretty much writes itself. But Cena's going to win. The Authority's going to be gone, and people's allegiances are all going to fall away, which is going to leave 10 guys with no direction, 10 guys worth of brand new potential storyline. Oh, yes. Who do I want to be the sole survivors? If Team Authority wins, Rollins should be the sole survivor, obviously, and because he's the new up-and-coming guy that needs it. If Team Cena wins, Ziggler should be the sole survivor because he deserves it. Yes. Oh, yes. Now, here we go. I've saved this for last. It's not going to be the main event, but I've saved it for last. Ambrose versus Wyatt. I shouldn't have to say anything else. It doesn't need to be the main event. It doesn't need to have a title involved. It doesn't need to have a stipulation or any stakes, whatever. Just Ambrose, Wyatt. Is there any doubt that this is going to be the match of the night? Absolutely not. But here is the sad, pathetic, and ironic thing. This match doesn't even need to happen. They could go out there and they could do finger poke of doom. They could go out there and totally shit the bed and have a Z match. And the 10 guys I just mentioned in the previous match could, by some miracle, pull off a 5-star classic. And the YWC would still call this the match of the night just because the guys they like are in it, rather than the match quality itself. That being said, and my harping on the YWC being done for the moment, this is going to be a great match. The psychological mind games between these two are only just beginning. People that are saying they want it to be Taker versus Kane, no. You can't reproduce Taker versus Kane, and you shouldn't, because these guys aren't Taker and Kane. They don't want to be the next Taker Kane. They want to be the first Wyatt. And why? Why? Sorry, guys. Popular, I guess. I don't really know. These guys are going to put on a great match. They don't need to be the next anything. They need to be the first whatever they are. It's cool for Bray Wyatt because this is the first rivalry he's had since dissolving his family and sending them out like doves into the world, whatever metaphor you want to use. He's going into this against Dean Ambrose with no backup. Dean Ambrose doesn't have the Shield anymore. Dean Ambrose doesn't have to worry about Seth Rollins because Seth Rollins is occupied elsewhere, and Roman Reigns is injured, obviously, which is unfortunate, although most people are singing the praises of him being injured, which is kind of sick. So these two guys that led their respective factions like a couple of months ago, now going one-on-one with no possibility of overbooking, the possibilities of this match are endless. Now, I will say, there's a prediction I forgot to mention earlier, and I'll get to that in a second. I do predict that the Ascension are going to be involved in this match. I think they're going to interfere. I think everybody's going to assume that they're there to help Wyatt, and it's going to turn out that they just take out both of them. They take out the two craziest guys on the roster to make a statement and just say, hey, here we are, fuck you, we're here, we want the tag team champions, whatever. Which is great. Lost my train of thought. It'll be a great way for them to introduce themselves to the roster. It'll be a great way to keep the Wyatt-Ambrose feud fresh and even, because it would be a double disqualification if they both got their asses kicked by the Ascension, would it not? And the Ascension is desperately needed in the tag team division. Even I will admit that. Speaking of the tag team division, I also predict the interference of the New Day stable. Not the new Nation of Domination, the New Day. I can see... what the hell are their names? Because they're kind of irrelevant, but whatever. Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston. If anybody watches the WWE YouTube channel, they will see that they have now done 2 parodies of Golden Stardust, which has to lead to a rivalry at some point, because you're going to have these two bouncing around the ring like the idiots that they are, with Big E Langston in the background standing there like this, because that's what he does. And you're going to have... my prediction, you're going to have 2 new tag teams to deal with in the WWE by the time Survivor Series is all said and done, which is never a bad thing, is it? You got 4 teams right there that are in the match. You got Slater Gator, if you really want to mention them. You got Tyson Kidd and Justin Gabriel, if you want to bring them up. You got the Ascension, and you've got the New Day, which is going to make me smile so much, because there's people out there that I won't name by name that thought they were going to get the new Nation of Domination, and they're just not. And again, it goes back to my whole point of, why do you want another of this? Why would you not want this original thing? Now, I'm not saying this is going to be a great gimmick by any stretch of the imagination, but new things rather than rehash. Everybody's already... And here's speaking of tag teams, Enzo and Cass on NXT, for example. Everybody's saying because they have their bit that they do on the way to the ring, they're going to be the next New Age Outlaws. Why would you not just let them be the first Enzo and Cass? Let them be the first Ascension. Okay, well, Kofi Kingston's been recycled more times than CJ Parker would like us to recycle our garbage, but I mean, the New Day is a new thing. Why not let it be whatever it's going to be instead of trying to fit it into some mold from the past? Oh, yes. So those are my thoughts going into Survivor Series. There's only 5 matches, which is kind of unfortunate, which means all these matches are going to get time, which means they have no reason to not be good. Now I want to go back to addressing the YWC for a second, and this big, bad, huge, horrible idea that doesn't really exist. And this big, bad, horrible idea that doesn't really exist is the old guard. People talk about the WWE these days as if there is... really, really old guys up here, really, really young guys down here, and not much in between. There's all kinds of in between. Dolph Ziggler falls in the in between. CM Punk, when he was there, fell in the in between, etc., etc., etc. But if you talk to, again, really trying not to mention names because I'm going to be doing that in the next couple of days, but there's this idea of the old guard, and basically, people that use this term, the old guard, aren't talking about old wrestlers. They're just finding a new reason to say, oh, I don't like him, I don't like him, I don't like him, and I don't like him, so we're going to give them this label, and now that they're a label, they're one entity, and we can just toss them out. And the other half of this idea is that no new guys are getting a chance, and they round this out to saying WWE doesn't know how to treat their NXT talent. Here is where we get into why I call this NXT Survivor Series. Because it is. Because let's look at the people involved on Sunday. Wade Barrett's coming back. He's not fighting, but he's coming back. Wade Barrett, who's been treated exceptionally well by the WWE, who was he was the inaugural winner of the original NXT concept. He's been the IC champion. He's had extensive rivalries with John Cena, the biggest name in the company, whether you like it or not, and he was brought to Raw to lead the Nexus, and when that was said and done, he was then sent to SmackDown to lead the Core. Every opportunity to make something great of himself was handed to him by the WWE. Adam Rose. Nah, you can't win them all. Fandango, who's getting new and improved, and he's getting a re-push starting this Sunday, hasn't won himself a title yet. Great in the ring. He was great in NXT as Johnny Curtis. He embraced the Fandango gimmick 110%. He worked with Layla, he worked with Summer Rae, and his debut match was beating Chris Jericho at WrestleMania. If that's not a push to get you started, I don't know what is. Emma, again, you can't win them all. She puts on great matches. She hasn't achieved yet, but she will. Paige, former NXT Women's Champion and two-time Divas Champion, and holds the distinction of being the only woman in the division to hold both of those titles at once. Also had a rivalry with the undisputed queen of the Divas division, which right now is AJ Lee. Summer Rae, fantastic in the ring, hasn't really achieved much on her own yet, definitely added to Fandango's character and served her purpose in that way. AJ Lee. And yes, going back to the old NXT concept rather than the current show as we have it now, but AJ Lee, multiple time, Divas champion, was never the NXT champion because there wasn't a WWE Women's NXT champion back then, but multiple time Divas champion against all manner of people, great feuds with Paige and Caitlyn and Stephanie McMahon at one point, and it's just good. Not to mention the fact that she's been closely associated with almost anybody that's meant anything in the main event scene in the past 5 years, and she herself has had impact on main events at pay-per-views. You can't really ask for more than that. Eric Rowan, part of one of the most dominant teams on NXT, now came to the WWE, was one of the most prominent, was a fixture in one of the most prominent factions in the WWE. And he's in a main event this Sunday, just saying, with the likes of John Cena and Kane and Ziggler and Mark Henry and all these big other names that you want to get rid of, but they need the rub first. Ryback. Skip Sheffield was nothing. This is it's just true. Ryback came in, destroyed everybody, got a push shoved up his ass, feuded with CM Punk, feuded with John Cena, got a tag team opportunity with Curtis Axel. Had every opportunity presented to him that he could possibly have. He was gone for a while. He was injured. He's come back. He's getting another push. Now he's a guy from NXT that you guys want to see get a push. And NXT guys, nobody in NXT gets a push. But Ryback, oh yes. Again, he's got a main event this Sunday. Seth Rollins, who, as I said, was not only one of the golden boys of NXT, he was the inaugural NXT champion, and he's also a former WWE tag team champion along with Roman Reigns, who you guys suddenly decided not to like as soon as he got a push. And he's carrying the Money in the Bank briefcase, and he's leading a team at the main event of Survivor Series, one of the big 4 pay-per-views. Rusev, wrecking ball, absolute wrecking ball, smoking hot manager, great angles with Jack Swagger, Mark Henry, The Big Show, Sheamus, holding a title right now, great heel, absolutely unstoppable, questionable whether anybody's going to pin him on Survivor Series, and again, he's in the main event of a big 4 pay-per-view this Sunday. Luke Harper, the shining star of the Wyatt family, disposing of every single person you could imagine. The Wyatts fought with John Cena, the Wyatts fought with Ryback, the Wyatts fought the Usos, the Wyatts are now now he on his own is dealing with Dolph Ziggler for the Authority, and he holds the Intercontinental Championship, otherwise known as the workhorse title of the WWE, and he is main eventing a pay-per-view this Sunday. And now in a totally separate category, you have Bray Wyatt and Dean Ambrose. Bray Wyatt, is there any doubt that he is one of probably the top 3 most interesting people in the WWE right now? That he's been given a platform to do so, that he's been given a microphone on that platform long enough to do so? No, he hasn't won a title yet. But he led a group of monsters to decimate the roster and every single big name on it. But he is in the unofficial main event of Survivor Series. Now, Dean Ambrose, I know I have to be careful with. Dean Ambrose was never technically on NXT, but when people talk about NXT, they talk about the Shield and the Wyatt family. Dean Ambrose gets swept up into the conversation. He was in, what the hell was it before it was NXT? FCW. I don't know whether he held gold in FCW. You can tell me down in the box below. But again, he was in the Shield that decimated everybody in their path for a long time, and he's a former holder of the United States Championship, and he is, as I say, been given all kinds of platform, all kinds of opportunity to show what he can do, both on the mic and as a character, and he is in the sort of unofficial main event of Survivor Series. Now, that's just what we have on the card. If I wanted to debunk everybody that says, oh, NXT guys don't get treated properly, I could have just said Daniel Bryan's bullshit booking at WrestleMania and the Shield and the Wyatts, end of discussion. But there's so much more. Now you get into my predictions. You bring in the Ascension, and you bring in the New Day. The New Day, I mean, Kofi Kingston was never in NXT, thank God. But Big E Langston, former NXT and Intercontinental championship holder, and Xavier Woods, who's fresh up from NXT and hasn't really done anything yet, but it's an amazing, amazing opportunity to make yourself known on a pay-per-view if what I predict does happen. Now, that is why NXT presents Survivor Series. And I gotta toss it in on the end here. Tyson Kidd, Justin Gabriel, and Sami Zayn are all becoming fixtures in WWE. I mean, yes, Tyson Kidd is only having matches with Fandango, but guess what? That means that Tyson Kidd and NXT as a whole is represented on Raw every week. Gabriel is having matches that don't have very much behind them, but he's pretty prominently featured on SmackDown, which means not only is he getting WWE exposure, so is NXT. And you flip over to main event, and yes, I know it's the number 3 or 4 show of the WWE, but it's still WWE television. Sami Zayn and the NXT name have been steady on main event for the past couple of weeks, going up against various people. So please, please, please tell me how the young generation, the new blood, or whatever catchy catchphrase you want to use to talk about all the new talent in the WWE, are being mistreated and not being given opportunities. And there's this big, bad, old guard that's holding everybody down. Let me tell you something. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. If you include my assumptions, 18 NXT alumni make up a good portion of Survivor Series this Sunday. So, this is why I'm donning yellow, even though it's actually a CM Punk shirt. But, guys, this Sunday, suck it up, admit it, enjoy it, whatever you want to do. But NXT presents Survivor Series 2014, and I don't know about you, but I'm going to have a good time. I've been Spaz, your YWC Reality Check. Subscribe up there, talk down there, start a conversation, keep all these conversations going. Give me your thoughts on NXT, your thoughts on the old guard, your thoughts on Survivor Series, and predictions if you feel like sharing. Don't be a stranger. I'll talk to each and every last one of you later, but for right now, I am tagging out. Bye, guys.
Sunshine, come a freak like me.